I'm back with my playthrough of Terraria, and let's hope I get more done this time. Alright, let's see what I've been up to. After joining in the game again, I kinda had to regroup to remember what I did, and then remember that I was trying to find iron because I still did not figure out that lead can be used in place of iron, so I figured to go into my mine shaft. After realizing that most of my mining was done in that cave, I decided to go back there to continue doing my mining. While I was heading in that direction, I decided I wanted to finish that really big staircase to sky limit that I built at the end of the last video, because I never actually finished it. So I had to speed this up because I wanted to get this done fast because I got a lot to do. And then the screen stopped moving up. And there we go. We got the achievement into orbit, which you get for falling to building to sky limit. I thought there were like some mobs up here or something, but no, nothing. So I fell all the way back down to Earth. And then I got it on the achievement on Xbox. And then just before I hit the ground, I deployed my parasol and landed very easily. Then it was nighttime, and I didn't know what to do. So I did what I always do when I don't know what to do at night, and went into my mine shaft. This is when I first realized the importance of talking to Andrew, my guide, because he gives me a ton of stuff that I really need to know. For example, he told me about how to make housing, because apparently you can attract NPCs to live in your town, which I already knew, but I didn't know how to attract them. I thought you had to find them. So he said to build a house, like you need specific things for them to be considered a house. And then he has this menu, and he can like tell me what things can be used in what recipes and what needs to be used in which recipes. It's a lot, but I didn't really understand the importance of it. But for now, I was looking at stuff like the fallen stars, see what I could do with that, and all this stuff, because I thought this was really interesting, because I didn't really get what it was yet. But after looking at that for a while, I finally decided to get to work. And by get to work, I mean mapping out the right side of the map. I was hoping to find a mountain range to find some iron, because I still didn't know that lead could be used in place of iron. So I was just walking this direction, and all I had really found was a mountain that I already knew was there. But eventually I had to keep fighting, and I had to fight in the dark because it was really pitch black at night, and I couldn't hold a light source and a weapon at once. But after a little bit of trekking, I found another tree house. I went down it, and there was more pots and a chest and rocks, and I didn't know what to do. Like, do I break the pots? But I can't really see them when it's dark, so I threw a glow stick to hopefully see better. Inside the chest was some pretty okay loot. I got a boomerang, I got a glass jar, and a bunch of potions, grenades, and shurikens. But my inventory was absolutely packed, so I was gonna have to make something to store my stuff when I got back to base. But for now, I was gonna keep doing stuff, and I decided to trash some items because I didn't really need them. In the same hallway, I found another chest with another finch staff, a rope, silver, shurikens, a minor potion, and a healing potion. I kept taking everything because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what else to do, and I just trashed anything I already have. Like, I already have a finch staff. So I think I should go back to base now because, well, my backpack is going to get full. But when I resurfaced from the tree house, I found myself in a different tree house, not too far from the first one, but I was right next to a desert. So I figured, hey, why not get some cactus stuff? Also, there were vultures here. They were kind of annoying, but my bird took care of them. After a long desert trek and finding out about my new weapons, I started using throwing knives and shurikens more often. I found a big ocean. And this is where glow sticks come in handy because they can be used underwater when torches very much cannot. And you might notice that things look red here. That's because we have entered the Crimson. The Crimson is just basically a forest, like the forest biome that I have my house in, but everything is red and there are demons everywhere. Like, look at all these guys. They look so weird. I kept finding these patches of red ore, but my pickaxe wasn't good enough to even make a dent in any of them. I tried to blow it up with a bomb, but I absolutely missed. And the main problem with me and the Crimson is that there are enemies everywhere. Like, my bird can take them, but there's so many that it almost doesn't matter. And I can't use my ranged weapons unless I can lock on, which is very hard to do sometimes if you're not aiming at them, and I ended up dying. When I spawned back in, I decided to go and see what kind of cactus stuff I could make, because I still got cactus from the place, and turns out, cactus can do a lot of things. I can make a sword out of it, I can make a pickaxe out of it, I can make armor out of it, which is like thorns from Minecraft, which makes enemies take damage when they hit me. So I decided to make a couple of cactus things. I decided to make a chest before I made any cactus stuff, and a kind of ironic moment is I literally didn't have enough space in my inventory to fit the thing that would stop me from not having enough inventory. So I trashed some lenses I got from Demon Eyes, but I was gonna need to start collecting lenses soon. I'll tell you why. So I just placed down the chest. As for what I did with my cactus stuff, I found enough cactus to make a cactus pickaxe and a cactus helmet and breastplates. But I didn't have enough to make the sword, which is something I wanted to do, so I headed back to the desert. I collected a lot of cactus, but I also dug myself into a hole, literally, because I thought, like, oh, if I throw a glow stick here, I should be able to mine down, like, forever, right? No, I did this at night, so zombies kept falling in the hole. And it's kind of hard to deal with them all, especially when two fall on top of you at the same time. So that was a pretty stupid idea, but I died that way. But at least I got the cactus. For the rest of the night, I just crafted the missing parts of the cactus that I was missing. I had to make the murderous cactus sword, but I also made an enchanted boomerang out of a boomerang and a fallen star. It was actually really good and ended up being one of my best weapons. I made my cactus leggings that I was missing, and I got the murderous cactus sword. So however these work, I don't know. And I finally figured out how to craft a stupid anvil out of lead after like 3 hours. Okay, no, not 3 hours. A while, okay? Longer than that. Anyway, I don't know how this works, but when you craft an item, it gets like a status effect. Like swift armor, I think, makes you move faster or something. I don't know. Like lazy, you can get like lazy, which makes... I think lazy makes like your weapons swing slower. But that's pretty much all I did for this night. Let's go to the next day. Oh, and by the way, before we do that, I did end up killing the zombie with my boomerang, and it ended up being my 50th zombie, which is interesting, and I'm pretty sure it gave me a zombie banner that increases damage against zombies when you're nearby it. Alright, now let's actually go to the next day. Today was a day of expansion, and I gathered a lot of wood. The reason is because I needed actually more space to fit the anvil because I was actually out of space. Plus, I wanted more area to just put things in general because my chest was starting to get pretty full. So I just started by cutting a part out of my base, and I was preparing to expand on it. I got all the materials I needed, and I started to build. I just sped this part up because I thought it looks really satisfying watching me build all this stuff so quickly. Just look at this. Also, I realized that Terraria characters are 3 blocks high, not 2. And I also put down that zombie poster, and it increases the damage I do to normal zombies. And there we go. We have my house. All I had to do is place down the anvil and a couple light sources, and it would be official expansion. After that, I crafted a bunch of sticky glow sticks, and they're normal glow sticks, but they stick onto walls, which definitely seem like they're going to be useful. So I was ready to go adventuring. Also, I accidentally dropped my bomb while I was trying to open my chest. Not that much damage happened, thankfully, just my workbench and furnace dropped, and I had it fixed up lickety-split. Before I left, I attempted to get Andrew out of the mines, but it didn't work. I built him these platforms, but he didn't walk across them to the other side. He just walked on them. I had a quick chat with him, and he told me how to summon one of the bosses by combining lenses on a crimson altar at night, but then he told me how to make a grappling hook. It was made of 3 chains and a hook. He said that hooks can be dropped by skeletons deep down, and then chains can be just crafted at an anvil, so I'm glad I have an anvil now. And they're made of lead, so I also had to find lead down there. So that was my next goal, to get a grappling hook. I returned to my main mining area, the very deep cave with all my new weapons and stuff. I made sure to equip my umbrella so I didn't die from all the falls, but it's also hard to tell when I landed because I didn't make a sound when I landed, which is kind of annoying. I rode down the rail again, and I found this blue area again. My copper pickaxe didn't mine it fast enough, but now it does. And before doing that, I took a mining potion, which makes me break things 25% faster for 10 minutes. So I started mining down to this blue area and seeing all the treasures that awaited me below. After breaking this, and I found this is a mushroom land with a bunch of mushrooms, and it had a life crystal. The more hearts, the more hits I can take from the bosses later on. And I was actually surprised to find all this stuff around here. In this chest, I found Hermes' boots, which allow me to run as fast as the god of messengers himself. They don't let me fly or anything, but they do let me run very, very fast, which is always nice, and it made exploring areas a lot easier. After a little while of exploring, I started digging down to see what was below this place. Probably not a good idea because enemies kept falling from the sky. I couldn't mine like that, so I decided to put these platforms up there to supposedly stop enemies from falling down. Turns out that it didn't keep enemies out because the skeleton came down. I was more thorough this time and used actual wooden blocks instead of wooden platforms. And that seemed to do the job. A little bit of mining later, and I found these 2 skeleton guys hopping around. These guys, I'm pretty sure, drop hooks that I need to make my grappling hook. I didn't want to go down and fight them, so I threw a couple grenades at them. And my boomerang, and I quickly killed them. And yeah, they dropped the hook I needed. I went down the cave more, and I got this comically large bat wing that is actually really strong, but it moves so slow that it's not worth it. At the bottom of a pit of water, I found a chest that had an inner tube. It allows me to float in water, but it constantly pushes me up, so if I'm trying to get something at the bottom of the water, it isn't very helpful. Another thing I found in that chest was a bucket that I could use to build sand castles. Don't ask me how that's useful, I just thought it was funny. I looked through more of my loot, and I actually found a helmet that was actually better than my cactus helmet. It gave 2 durability to my cactus helmet's 1. After a bit of going down, I found this red thing. I don't know what it was, but it looked like it was an ore from the Crimson, or maybe even the Underworld. But I wasn't anywhere near a Crimson biome, so what could it have come from? I tried to mine it, but it was very tough, and I couldn't break it. It was definitely like Crimson, but I didn't know what it was. I found another minecart rail, and it ended in the water, so I went the other way to see where that part ended. After a little while, I found honey? I was confused. It looked like a swamp, but then I saw this other area. It had lava. No, it can't be. I'm not deep enough. I'm nowhere near deep enough to hit something like that. I thought it was the underworld, but nope, it was just a pool of lava. After almost dying getting across it, I found another life crystal. And then it went dark. And then I didn't have enough space to pick up the life crystal. So I decided to get rid of my cactus because I didn't really need it anymore. I was in the middle of mining some silver when this giant ant attacked me. Some kind of antlion thing, I don't know, but it was way more strong than my armor could handle. So I was like, what the heck was that? I went back to keep going through the area, but I didn't want to keep almost dying crossing the lava. So I decided to try and build something across it out of wood. This is definitely a good idea. But then a bat started biting me, and the bats kept really hitting hard. So while I was trying to build it, I was almost dead anyway. So I was being very careful, carefully placing it, and my controller started acting up, and I almost fell in, and then the giant worm came by, and then I kept placing things, and my controller stopped wanting to help. And then I saw this text. This text was definitely not good. If you don't know what that text means, it means that the water in the world will turn to blood, and any monsters who touch it will immediately get buffed. It also increases mob spawning by a large portion, and it also means that they're all going to be extra aggressive towards me, so I better start preparing. But the funny part is that I didn't even notice this text because I was too busy mining and fighting the enemies. And then I fell into lava. And yeah. But that didn't matter because I had to start fighting my way through a blood moon that I didn't even know what was happening until I got to the surface. After I figured out it was a blood moon, I quickly started to try and get back. And then this thing showed up. That's what happens when a demon eye touches blood water. And this is what happens when a zombie touches blood water. So they turn into these gnarly creatures, and I gotta fend them off. I was prepared, and I decided that I was going to defend my house from the monsters waiting outside. I had my bat wing. I had my cactus sword. I had my boomerang. I gotta take care of a couple red zombies. And the things that I thought were blood demon eyes are actually these things called dripplers. I cleared out one side of my house, and then I found a bunch more on the other side. So I decided that if I'm gonna hit them all, I'm gonna let them in. I opened my door and I started throwing my boomerang as fast as I possibly could. I was hitting them left and right. I kept on hitting them, and I was able to clean all of them out. But then they just kept coming over and over, and I decided to duck back into my house, and then they came on the other side. And then I forgot to close the door, so they just gladly let themselves in. So I decided, hey, if you're gonna come at me, then I'm gonna come at you too. One of them dropped this box thing, I don't know what it was, and I couldn't be on the ground anymore, so I went on my roof where they came to. I don't know how they got up there, but I kept on killing them over and over again. And even this green demon eye, which I thought was pretty interesting. I thought it would drop something special, but nothing different. So I just closed the door, and I was safe for now. But I didn't want to just spend the rest of the night like this. So I kept on beating them up with my boomerang. After such a long time, I was still at it. Maybe blood moons lasted longer. Hitting the demon eyes with my boomerang was impossible unless I locked on. And then I thought I was finished. And I thought I was. But of course I wasn't. I was able to get into my house again, but there was this slime zombie. I was holding my own, and I was killing them all. Beating them to death with my all-powerful boomerang. But then I got overrun, so I used my Hermes boots and escaped. I hid in a cave, so I didn't have any more surprises. And see what I mean? This thing used to be water, but now it's blood. I actually wanted to go to the other side because I wanted to get something done, despite it being a blood moon. So I wanted to explore more of this side of the map. I had made it to the desert area, and that's when it stopped. And I got the achievement Bloodbath for surviving my first blood moon. And also Marathon Medalist for traveling 26 miles on foot, which with my Hermes boots was no problem. I went back to the Crimson to try and use explosives to mine the ore again, and I actually came down to what I should actually use. I looked around in my inventory and I tried to use a bomb, but the bomb wouldn't stay where I wanted it to stay, and I ended up exposing some crimson water, which I didn't even know that was a thing. I did eventually end up getting some crimstone, but I accidentally dropped some sticky dynamite, and dynamite is supposed to be used for mining, and then I died because I got overrun by crimson monsters. But dynamite is supposed to be used for mining. I think bombs are just supposed to be used for clearing areas out. So I decided to try that. But before I went back, I decided to see what these things that the zombies dropped were. 2 of them were shackles, so I could only wear 1 of them. I got the menacing shackle, which gave me more damage, and then the precise shackle that gave me more the critical hit chance. And then this money trough thing was actually pretty cool. If you use it, it summons a flying piggy bank that you can use to store your items, so it's almost like an ender chest. I returned to the Crimson to actually try and blow up the Crimstone this time. And it worked. I got stuck in. I fired it in the hole. The problem with this, though, is that it's in a pit, and monsters fall into the pit, and then they're just stuck there until I kill them. So I got overrun by 4 eye monsters, and I died. Before I headed back, I actually realized I had another pet item. And it summons a ghost that stuns and hurts enemies, which is pretty useful, actually. By the time I got back to the Crimson, it was nighttime. So I tried to get a little bit of Crimstone, but I didn't get that much. I used a bomb on top of it this time, and it actually did work much better. I also found this hill that appeared to be entirely made out of Crimstone, so that definitely helped get some. I still didn't know how to make the stuff out of it, but I saw something moving around in there. I tried to figure out what it was, but face monsters kept on coming at me, and I just couldn't find the time to place down another bomb, especially since I didn't put in my hotbar. So I eventually gave up and just kept going to the right. And also I got a couple of shade wood, which are just the trees that you can find in the Crimson. I found this jungle biome, which I guess is cool, and I did find a couple mineral bars, and you'll see what Abigail does. Yeah, she goes and screams by them and damages them. And I did get a iron skin potion, whatever that is, and I got another thing of claws, but I didn't need them because I already had them. While I was trying to get out, these 2 zombies came down here, and one of them had an archaeologist hat. He looked like a zombie Indiana Jones, but he was definitely stronger than the other zombies. Not by a lot, but killing him got me the achievement Archaeologist, and I got his hat. I actually started to get kind of bored just walking through these areas, and I saw how far it was from the edge, or maybe the map isn't accurate to the edge, but I decided to take a recall potion and head back home because I was just getting really bored because it didn't seem like there was anything for me to do. I talked with Andrew some more, and he talked about how I can attract people to live in my town, because apparently I'm building a town out here. So he told me to make a house, I need a door, a chair, and a table, and I also have to make sure it's blocked off from all sides, except for the door. So I decided to get to work on that. I chose a spot a couple blocks away from my house, and I got to work. Building in Terraria is so satisfying at a higher speed. I put doors on both sides so I can easily run through it if I need to go in that direction, which is also why it's good to have 2 doors in general. I did have to go back to get the back, but then I think I had a house. All that was missing were some light sources, and that is a proper house. I didn't know if I had to find the NPCs or if they would like show up and like ask if they could move in. I did end up killing my 50th slime, which gave me a slime banner. So I talked to Andrew, and he kept talking to me, and he told me that he's used to having no home, but he would like to get a place to himself, so I decided to let him move into my new house. I mean, he said he was going to move in anyway, but I'm glad he moved in. Before he moved in, I asked him how to make lead chains, and turns out I just had to be around an anvil, but my anvil is separated from my other crafting things, so sometimes it doesn't show up when I'm in a certain area. But I figured that out eventually. To make enough chains to make the grappling hook, I needed more leads, which means back to mining. While I was down there, I found this chest, and when I opened it, it exploded. And I got the achievement, Dead Men Tell No Tales. And I'm like, come on! You know how long it took me to get down there? I mean, you don't, but it took a while, okay? And I looked for Arthur to ask him something, but then I saw that he wasn't actually down there. So where could he be? And then I saw 2 falling stars on top of my house, which is good. It's actually good because I need the fallen stars to make mana crystals, which means I can cast more magical spells if I can never find a new staff. But with the lead I got from my mining expedition, I was able to make quite a few lead bars and a new mana crystal. And I found this vertebra, whatever that is. I don't know what that is. While I was trying to figure out why I couldn't craft the chains, I actually found Arthur in his new house, which I was actually wondering when he was actually going to get in, because I thought he was stuck in the mines. But he isn't. He's here. And another fallen star, which I can't pick up because my inventory is full. Great. Arthur told me that I needed an anvil to craft the chains, so I crafted the chains, and then I made a grappling hook. So I thought that this thing was awesome. And boom, boom, I could grapple onto walls, I could grapple onto the floor. I don't know why I would grapple onto the floor, but I can grapple onto stuff. I wondered if I could grapple onto an enemy. I can't. I don't know what I would do without Andrew. He just kept telling me new stuff. And he said that if I place down a jar on top of a table, it allows me to craft potions. It makes sense. So I put down a table and I put down a jar. I couldn't figure out how to get it to work though, so I decided to just go mining with my new grappling hook. But then I mistimed pulling out my umbrella and I died. I figured out how to get potions after I respawned. I could make better healing potions by taking a glow shroom and 2 lesser healing potions, and I learned how to make normal healing potions, and I can make lesser healing potions myself now, which is very good because I'm gonna need all the healing I can get if I'm gonna go up against a boss, which I'm not going to quite yet, but hey, who knows, maybe I'll do it in the next video. Maybe, I don't know, I haven't recorded the next one yet. With the grappling hook I was able to get past most of the lava pits, but then I got attacked by this tomb crawler. I don't know what it was doing here, but it didn't seem like I was near any tomb, and then I died to it because those things hit hard and my armor is still very weak. It only provides 1 defense. I also built a new house during the nighttime because I was bored. So I had 2 falling stars and you need 5 to make a mana crystal. Basically, anytime at night, my main goal, or my second goal, depending on what it is to get fallen stars to get as much mana as I possibly can. So I'm just putting in the background for this. And yeah, we have another house. I didn't know if I had to find the NPCs or if the NPCs would just show up. It's probably the first one, but I don't know that much about this game, so maybe they will just show up. Then I figured out that tin items were much, much stronger than my current cactus items, so I ended up replacing pretty much all my cactus stuff with tin stuff. I mean, look at how much faster this tin pickaxe mines. It mines so much faster than my cactus one. It might be hard to tell, but it definitely makes a difference if you're playing. I decided to go mining before I finished things up, but I didn't even get farther than the shroom zone. But anyway, that's the end for this Terraria video. I think I got a lot more done than I did last time. So yeah, alright, goodbye. I'll see you in the next video.